video is sponsored by STS Footwear. Footwear of the fans, by the fans, for the fans. Get your own Gator sneakers at stsfootwear.com and use the code GTFans for $15 off at checkout.
Mike, you come off of a win like this, there's a lot of euphoria. How do you get the guys to come back down to earth after a win like this?
Well, you just try to. You don't know that you can. You better. You're not going to have any success tomorrow night. But we started talking about tomorrow's game in the locker room immediately after the game. I mean, guys, we got to get some sleep. We got to manage our phones tonight. That's a big thing in 2020. We're talking about our guys' phones. It's a big deal, right? It occupies a lot of their time. So if you don't turn your phone off at a certain time, it's going to be hard for you to sleep. We got to get sleep. We got to get rest. We got to hydrate. On to the next one. There's 18 of these. That was one. I talked about it again. Same type deal yesterday. So hopefully our guys are bought into the scout report and having a great practice today. Again, just to give us a chance to be competitive up there.
Going back to the second time when you saw differently offensively, that worked against Alabama. You maybe take away from this.
Aggression, confidence, not a bunch different schematically than the first half. Just thought we were rattled, and again, credit Bama. Deflections and forcing turnovers just made some. We also helped them with some poor decisions, but just settled in and just played with a different level of confidence, more so than anything else in the second half.
How key is Andrew becoming like that leader that you really need? It looked like he took over again.
Yeah, he hopefully he gains even more confidence moving forward from that. He's very good. He's one of the best passers in college basketball. He's developing as a scorer. He's a terrific quarterback, in terms of getting guys in the right spots and communicating efficiently, loudly, early, often while we're playing, offensively and defensively. He's always directing traffic, but he's also growing as an emotional leader as well. And he's picking the spots and leading now more in practices, in film, media timeouts.
You said that part of that was the way they were playing you guys.
Yeah.
What the success, but do you think he can continue to carry it over despite no matter how the team's playing you guys?
Well, yeah, we would hope so. It's just about making reads for him, and he makes reads for the most part at a high level correctly. And certain teams are going to dare him to shoot it more, and certain teams are going to collapse, and he's going to probably have less shot attempts and more passes. Whether or not he has more assists will be determined whether or not we make shots. All these teams in the league play a little bit differently defensively. South Carolina, very unique approach in how they defend. Very, very disruptive. One of the more unique defenses that will play all season, and they're really, really good at it, of course.
Mike, how do you set up the game? Freshmen have no idea what they're walking into.
Yeah.
Other than telling them, showing them on tape, and sometimes it doesn't translate to you. How did you really get Omar Payne and Wes Glover to understand?
Tip it up.
Plays?
Yeah, tip it up in Columbia. That's it. We can't simulate it. We're not simulating it out there. We've got you got a certain amount of guys in practice. I really don't. I guess you have a decision whether or not you can even try to simulate their defense, which you're creating bad habits for us because we play a different type defense. If we had about 28 walk-ons out there that were really fast and tough and aggressive, and you had a chance to rep it every day for a few months, maybe you could, but just not going to happen. When it's tipped, our guys will understand a few minutes into the game that it's just a different deal. It's different than what they've experienced, not only from the standpoint of how South Carolina plays, how they defend, how they rebound, how they execute, but just an SEC road game in itself. I think will be a challenge, of course, for all these guys.
You talked Saturday night about Keontae and the little things does, and it seems that, he's always got a hand on the rebound or making a defensive
Mhm.
play. He does all the things that don't show up in the box. Can you talk more about that?
He's a versatile defender. He's a growing driver, playmaker. He's developed that part of his game significantly since early last season. Become a better scorer. The game has slowed down for him a little bit offensively. Developing passer. And when he's playing with a motor, when he's playing really hard, he's a good SEC player. And that's the challenge for him, to continue to improve the consistency with his motor. Because at times when he's flying around, he is really productive.
What are the challenges of facing a guy like AJ Lawson?
A lot. Speed, quickness, versatility, ability to shoot off the catch and go get his own shot, good passer, good defender. You get 16 a game in this league, you're a good player.
So they beat Virginia on the road and then lose at home to Stetson.
Yeah.
I know.
And one at Clemson. Yeah,
You
yeah.
guys see them go a little up and down too. That's pretty dramatic. What they do really well in the one and not so well in the other?
I just think it's college basketball as a whole. It's and this year in particular, I've never seen something like this year. I think everybody's talking about it. I haven't studied the numbers, but I can't imagine there's been a year where there's been this many upsets and this many crazy outcomes for whatever reasons. I guess that's another conversation. But with these guys, they've proven that they can play with anybody in the country. To go on the road and win at Clemson, and go on the road and win at Virginia, that's who we're anticipating playing against. A team that's year in and year out really competitive in this league, a Final Four program. Their big kid Kotsar played in a Final Four, and he's still there. That's the program and the team that we're anticipating going up against. The other game I just think was a fluke. And credit Donnie and those guys. Stuff happens in college basketball. It was just one of those games.
Shot selection is a big deal for you guys. Was it considerably better in the second half, or did you start making?
I think it was a little bit better, but making shots helps. We made more shots. We had a couple crazies in the first half. We did, but we also had another crazy in the second half. And we graded them. I think we had 3 Fs in that game, a few Cs. We had some As. But you got to get A's. In Columbia, it's easy to say we need all A's. It's hard to get off an A, against good defenses. But that's what we're attempting to do.
Scotty makes freshman of the week in the SEC.
Good for him. Happy for him. We don't talk about individual awards. We won't bring that up today. Hopefully he doesn't celebrate it too much. He ought to feel proud and then focus on having a great practice. That's why he played well. He practiced. He prepared well. He didn't practice a lot actually, going into that one with the with his previous injury. But progressively over the past month, he's had good practices. He's been in 3 weeks probably. Been in a good state of mind. Had a good approach to work and had a good attitude, and stuff's paying off for him. He had a really good game the other day.
How much will you be able to use the other night's game, though? Just the fact that how deep the hole you guys were in and able to climb out of it.
I hope we're never down 21 again, and we don't have to talk about that. But chances are we'll be, we'll have games this year where we're in a tough spot. How tough, we'll see, but and potentially you could draw upon that performance, the fact that we were able to pull one out. We were in a really tough spot. My goodness. We talked about it in post game the other night. When you go back and watch it, you're like, wow. It puts it into even more perspective. Go ahead.
This is curious, totally opposite, but you mentioned manage your phones.
Yeah.
Have you had to change the way you coach with guys and the phones, just the way it's become much more prevalent in life in the last 5, 10 years than it was?
Yeah, absolutely. And most of the thoughts that I get and strategies are from other people, because without experts out there um, and people that really understand society today and this generation, and I don't want to even get into this stuff because we could go for an hour, but and I don't quite understand it nearly as well as I should. I get a lot of help from people, and we've been given some ideas. We talk to our team a lot about social media and phones and and there are certain times where we've got to check our phone in, and I think that's helped a little bit with team camaraderie and communication. As opposed to my first couple of years here, we're sitting at pregame meal and you look at your team and everyone's doing this. Now we check our phones in, and so we're going to force each other to have to communicate while we break bread and hang out. And there are other times that we do that as well. Certain amount of time before the game, after the game. That's just one example, but there's probably a few.
A little off topic, but I know Preston Green and Dave Warner are really well respected among the college basketball community. How important is having both of those guys part of this program?
They're incredible. Denver. While he's standing there, if he wasn't there, I wouldn't have said Denver. Mike Roebuck, Tracy Paff, Dwayne Allen, the support staff that we just inherited. We just inherited. They're incredible, and they've been so educational for us. I say us, my staff and I, and players and managers, and everyone that came here with me from Louisiana Tech. We value these people at such a high level. Not only do they help and they're supportive and they do a good job in what they do, but again, I would argue that they have had probably as much of an impact on a staff as anyone in the country. You're talking about a young staff that came here a few years ago, and you get a chance to shake hands with the best strength and conditioning coach in the country, and he says, "Hey, I want to stay." My goodness, that's a grand slam, And then, oh, by the way, here's who's now an associate athletic director, your trainer, Duke Warner, he's got 2 national championship rings. So their value goes way beyond weights and taping ankles. What they give to this program is immeasurable. I lean on those guys for a ton of different stuff. Duke's been in locker rooms of Final Fours, national championships, and he's been around winners, and he's picked people's brains, and he's had in-depth conversations, and he's got relationships with the Al Horfords and the Joakim Noahs and those guys and the Bradley Beals. And, I could go on and on. Those guys are terrific. Sorry for rambling.
When you lose the game at free throw line, pretty quickly, but you hit 30 free throws the other night.
Yeah.
You're hitting more this season than you have the past 2 seasons.
Yeah.
How important, obviously, is that? And is there anything you can point to and improve emphasis on that in practice?
Yeah.
Behind that?
I told them to make them. I said, let's go make most of our free throws, and they did it. Obviously, I'm just playing. I think we're a pretty good free throw shooting team. Starts probably with KJ Blackshear. He probably helps spread that confidence level at the foul line a little bit. He's got an ability to draw fouls at a high rate. He understands how to draw fouls, and you got to foul him or he'll score it. And then he gets up there and steps up confidence and he makes it at a high level. Andrew's worked a lot at it. Noah's a good shooter. I'm just thinking of the guys that get to the foul line the most. Keontae Johnson, has gotten better there, and he's also gotten better at drawing fouls. I don't know the numbers on this. I ought to know off the top of my head, but I think this is probably the best foul drawing team that I've had ever, I think. And hopefully continuing to get better and converting. It feels good, especially late game, and you're in a good rhythm and people are stepping up there with confidence. So important at this level, of course.